Hi, this is Taxing Poetic and with Tim and Jenny.
Yes, this is episode 1, episode 4, the first one. Yes, I'm Jenny Carter.
So I'm Tim Howe, the CEO and founder of Synexus. Going with Jenny Carter?
Texas. I'm going with Jenny Carter.
Okay, making a commitment.
Last name roulette. Yes,
I love it.
More on that later.
I absolutely love it. So Jenny, how'd you get started in tax?
Well, Tim, sales tax, let's just get this straight first of all. A lot of people think I do like income tax, like, hey, help me file my 1040. And I'm like, no, I don't do any of that.
You won't do my personal income tax?
No, I will not. Because sales tax is a totally different animal. I got started in sales tax when I was a young mom and just was looking for something in the accounting field to work from home. And you'd be surprised to know, or not surprised because you know sales tax, they don't really teach it anywhere in school, in accounting schools. So you kind of learn on the fly. So I got started about 10 years ago working in sales tax, doing it part-time and learning on the job. And here I am 10 years later.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's honestly, that's basically how I started too. When I was graduating from Georgia State, I ended up getting an internship at KPMG and started.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. When is that? The 4-letter network?
Yeah.
No, but
Big company.
but yeah, no, I got an internship with them and worked in their advisory services group and decided that, doing that kind of stuff was not really my cup of tea. And they said, hey, we've got a small group that actually does technology and sales tax. And believe it or not, I'm also a tech nerd, which, makes me
I do believe that.
the most interesting person in the world.
Yes.
Yes, being both a coder and a developer and,
Yes.
and also knowing sales tax. But yeah, so I started working with their team for about 8 years doing implementations of tax engines with big ERP systems, and then went to work for a large company that's famous for being closed on Sundays and selling chicken sandwiches, and was there
Burger King?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, you rule.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Oh,
anyways,
yeah.
so worked with them for a few years, and then obviously came to my new and permanent home, being Smith and Howard and Synexus. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
I know. It's been a lot of fun these last 2 years. We've grown a lot. Just started out a couple of us, and now we're, exponentially.
Exponentially growing.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, it is huge.
And now
Who's
you're
this
making a
guy?
podcast.
Yeah.
And now we're making a podcast
And now we're
with,
making a podcast.
with this guy over here, JV.
Oh, yeah.
Introduce our producer.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Yep.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you, JB.
Oh yes. Meet first time.
First
time.
time getting thrown to the fire.
JB, we cannot wait to teach you all about sales tax. It's going to be,
Very excited.
you're going to be just, a wealth of knowledge after this.
So speaking of that, what are we going to be doing here for the next, however many episodes that we're going to tax poetic about sales tax?
Yes, we're going to tax poetic about sales tax. I wrote some haikus earlier, so we can get into those later.
When I'm ready to go to sleep.
Yes, when you're ready to go to sleep. Like you're also a coder. I also have other talents, which include writing,
Poetry, apparently.
poetry. Yes.
I love it.
No. Yeah.
No, I think we're going to, try to take an interesting spin on sales tax topics. And I think we had both said that, a lot of the podcasts that are out there today that are actually providing information to people and trying to educate people on legislative updates, we're going to take a little bit more of a fun spin on it, right?
Absolutely.
And add a little bit of a personal touch to it, and not hit everybody with the hardcore Synexus stuff, but
Right.
at least teach and educate our the folks, the listening audience, basically on the importance of some of these emerging topics in sales tax, and kind of goes to what is Synexus and how did we come about, right?
Right.
And how did we start? I mean, because Jenny was actually here right prior to the
Yeah.
formation of Synexus,
I know.
and was originally part of the Smith and Howard family,
Mm-hmm.
which we all still are part of the Smith and Howard family. But at the end of the day, sales tax compliance was a really small portion of our business for a long time, right? We focused heavily on the consulting piece, and we did a lot of audit defense work and research and things of that nature for our clients. But a lot of our clients, because of Wayfair and the advent of the Wayfair decision from the Supreme Court, started asking us about compliance services because, frankly, they liked the service that we were providing on the consulting side and decided to say, hey, will you also help me file my returns, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it ultimately just kind of spun into us creating this entity, which is Synexus Tax Solutions, which assists in compliance. And that's primarily what we do,
Right.
We are compliance nerds.
Right. And that's what's so fun, I think, about a podcast like this is I know, as you and I know, and our whole Synexus team knows, we love to have fun with our job. And we embrace the geekiness of it and geeking out about it and having our brainstorms and just like commiserating about the joys and the pain of sales tax. And then we notice when we go around to other conferences and talk to other sales tax people, we all have kind of the same, again, aches and pains.
So you're
Same
embracing your
joys.
nerd?
I'm just I always embrace my inner nerd.
I love it.
Yes. So
You're a
now I
big
just
nerd.
get to do it. Yes. Which hence I was just looking at this. Our episode title is what, like episode 1 part 4. Did I say that right?
No,
No.
it's
What is it?
episode. Well, yes, episode 1, episode 4.
Episode
right?
1,
at the
episode 4.
beginning. Yes.
Which for all of you proper nerds should know what that is. And I polled some people around my house and said, "Hey, if I told you my podcast name was episode 1, episode 4, do you know what that means?"
And what was the answer? Did they know it?
Yes. Well, half of my family knew it. But you know why? Because some are Star Wars nerds and some are Star Trek nerds.
Oh God,
But I am both.
no Trekkies allowed.
No. Trek. I just don't understand like why you have to be one or the other. You can nerd out about both of them. So
Please.
Yeah. So we had a big discussion about that. So that was definitely a Star Wars reference. So
Love it.
if you're cool like us, but also want to nerd out about sales tax, this is the place to be.
I'm going to keep a running tally of whole groups of people that we've offended, and I'm adding Trekkies to that.
Yeah, seriously. I'm offended.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, my brother-in-law, who will probably be listening to this, will probably stop listening at this point because he's a massive Trekkie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's okay. I'll stop
The
offending.
best. Okay. All right. We'll forgive you. Yes. But you can just like both. It's fine. So yeah. So I think we're going to have a great time just talking through the various issues. The stuff we talk about just not on a podcast, stuff we talk about in our offices, on a phone, on a conference call, at a conference, and the stuff we learn from others, just not in a formal setting. And again, just being able to have fun with it and geek out about it and not feel like we're that big.
You know, it's so funny that you say that because like the other day I was sitting there and I was hanging out with a couple of my buddies and they were, golf friends, and we had gone out to play like, a quick 9 and they sat there and they're like, I just don't understand like how your entire job revolves around sales tax, like, and how how basically you have to go out and consult people on the fact that tax needs to apply to the certain sale of products. And I was like, well, it also applies to services. And they're like, you're crazy. There's no states to tax services. And it's like, oh my gosh, and that's
podcast people. You need to listen to this
you
podcast.
need to completely listen to this
Idiots.
podcast because we're going to actually cover that at some point. The states that do tax services and the nature of those services and how it impacts, different businesses like contractors and software companies and all that other stuff. And we get all excited and, love to talk about it.
But yeah, we'll take a lighthearted approach and just be able to everyone's affected by sales tax. Like almost all of us, except in 5 states, pay it.
But even in those 5 states,
Yeah, there's still exactly, which we'll talk about too.
I know, get excited.
I know, get excited. So that's why it's funny when people are like, "What? What about sales tax? How can it be that hard?"
Jenny, do you know the 5 states that don't charge sales tax?
I do.
What are they?
Yes. Well, there's that fancy acronym that we all know, the NOMAD states.
There you go.
New Hampshire, Oregon, Montana, Alaska, and Delaware.
Oh, look at that.
I know. So 45 states and I guess Puerto Rico, right?
Yep, yeah, they count.
Puerto Rico.
And District of Columbia.
And District of Columbia,
Yeah.
correct.
There you
So
go.
we'll be talking about all that, just some basics about sales tax, some sales tax 101 for folks, because I don't know, people that like to geek out like me enjoy hearing kind of a 101 about sales tax, about what it is and why we pay it, and our surprise of, the percentage of a state's income
Yep.
from sales tax.
Absolutely.
People are actually really surprised. They assume it's mostly income tax or property tax or payroll tax.
Well, and the other important thing is being able to talk to folks and saying, what does it mean to go in and do business in a state, right? And what does it mean to actually, once you cross that economic nexus threshold, the whole, in our next episode when we're going to be talking about
Yes.
Wayfair and getting in depth in it, what does that actually mean to your business? And is it like an immediate trigger, right? Is it something that you instantly step over when you reach $100,000 or $500,000, whatever it may be? What does that mean to your company? Like what's the decisioning process that you need to go through before you actually register in that state?
Right.
Right. And then once you get done with that, well, how are you going to calculate and collect the tax? How are your products going to be taxed? Right. What are you doing in that state? Is it truly taxable or not? So, being able to cover all those things in a, very straightforward manner, I guess that's easily consumable, as opposed to listening to, folks just kind of read knowledge from a book or read the law.
Because snooze fest. Yeah. And that's, I think, what we're...
Don't offend the attorneys out there,
sorry.
Jimmy.
Oh, yeah. We are
Geez.
okay. Offended Trekkies. Attorneys.
Go ahead and keep the running tab, JB. Thanks.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The list will be long by the,
That's
the end of
exactly
these
it.
few podcasts.
Long and distinguished.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, let's play a game.
You want to play a game?
Yay. Okay. So I think the game we decided we're going to play is the 2 truths and a lie, right?
Love it.
Okay. So are you guessing, JB, or are you both taking a guess? Like if I give you my 2 truths and a lie.
I can do the guessing. And
Okay.
we can even have JB be the tiebreaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can't figure out any of them.
Okay. So
You go first.
I will go first. So here's my first truth or lie. I worked for a NASCAR team in college. And my second one is I've run the New York City Marathon twice. And my third one is I was there when the Challenger exploded.
I'm going to go with you've run the New York City Marathon twice as your lie.
What do you mean there? Like, how close? What are we talking?
of the Challenger exploding?
Well,
Oh, I wasn't in the Challenger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sit down.
I was at the...
She's living the conspiracy theory, JV.
Well, now you basically know what my lie is, because it's like, oh, I was there. So that's obviously the truth.
I have to go
Yeah.
with you not being in the Challenger, but
Oh, yeah.
that's what we're.
Oh, my God.
But have to. I love learning.
You did not run the New York City.
No. Yeah, so you knew that. Because running is the worst. And yeah, but then people are always like, if I use that as my lie, then they feel bad. 'Cause it's like, oh, now I'm going to say she's not a runner.
You're a
Like,
big tennis person, though.
I am.
mean, you got to run around a lot
I
playing
do,
tennis.
but not a marathon. Oh, kill me. I'll
on,
just
dude.
do that. Yeah, that's
I'll add that.
that's for Netflix.
There's only 2 things I do for running. I run from bears and I run to get beer. That's about it. I'm not running for anything else.
Yeah, and again, like marathons are for Netflix. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
that is no. I do
I'll
not.
add marathon runners to our list of people that we are offending.
Yes, I'm sorry, marathon runners. I have the utmost respect for you, but I need to get one of those stickers that says 0.0 on the back of my car.
All right. So you ready for my 2 truths?
Oh yeah.
or
Okay, I'm ready.
2 truths and a lie?
I'm very excited for this.
Okay. Let's see. I once took part in the Rose Parade. I actually sat for the bar exam in Nebraska, and I was a music education major at one point in my career.
JB, what do you think?
Rose Parade.
I think I'm going with bar exam.
Give it to Jenny.
Yeah, I knew.
I marched in the Rose Parade when I was a music major at Arizona State University. So believe it or not, in prior life, I was a music education major. And when we played Ohio State, when Arizona State played Ohio State against, it was Jake Plummer and David Boston and all those guys.
Nice.
David Boston, excuse me, was on, and Joe Germain were on the Ohio State side. But yeah, I was actually on the cover of the LA Times, believe it or not, with my drumsticks in the air when David Boston caught the touchdown. I was standing there. So that's my 1 minute of fame. Congratulations.
Do you have that frame somewhere?
No,
You
I actually
should.
light it on fire. Yeah. Do you remember like a terrible football loss? Come on.
Pretty exciting to be in the LA Times.
Yeah,
Have your autograph. Yeah.
pretty important.
What's-
You've got my autograph like 4,500 times a month with all the tax
That's
returns.
true.
that
It's
we-
all a tax return. Good point. I'll just cut it out and
There you
paste that in.
go.
But that's a cool story.
It's a totally cool story.
Fun, yeah. Rose Parade's a big deal.
That was a good game. We learned something.
Yeah.
JB, I mean, did you want to do the same for us? We don't know you as well.
No, I know, but I didn't prepare any
You didn't.
lies.
You can't. Okay.
Yeah,
All
They
right.
would just all be lies.
They would just all be.
It's like weird. It's like we're going to be giving speeches about tax and nobody's going to be fact checking us except JB's going to be over there going, "That's a lie." Wrong.
All right, so we did a good job on our run of show here. We're now to the wrap up.
Okay. Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of questions understanding about who this podcast is actually for, right? And we're really trying to gear this podcast to clients of ours who actually have questions and don't understand maybe some of the basic mechanics of sales tax, but also to people who are not clients and other folks who just generally have questions about sales tax and understanding, the ins and outs of compliance. And also wanting to understand maybe what's going on in the world with sales tax and what changes that we're seeing coming down
Staying
the pipe.
current,
Right?
so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Lots of state law changes, rate changes. There's a lot going on.
Just wrapped up a legislative session here in Georgia, and got a lot of other states that wrapped up their legislative sessions. There's got a lot of new legislative changes that are coming around sales tax. Georgia was trying to make some big changes with regards to the treatment of digital goods and other fun stuff. And we know a number of different states that are trying to address those issues as well. So it's going to be great to be able to keep some people ahead of that and talk through what those impacts might be, right?
Yeah. I mean, as our world changes, as the economy changes, as there's more different products coming out there, the states are looking to stay current and also for additional sources of revenue. So there are always going to be changes and updates. I think they actually somewhat move pretty quickly, because they want the money.
That's right. Well, and it's always easier
Right.
if you think about it from a tax perspective. What's easier for a voter base? Is it easier to increase taxes by a penny for every dollar?
Yes.
Or is it easier to take 1% more of your take-home income, right? Which is why sales tax has always generated so much revenue for the states, because it's much easier to create a sales tax increase or a rate base increase for, let's say, an educational program, a bond program for schools, or changing the taxability of a certain product. People seem to be a lot more accepting of that as opposed to with an income tax change.
Absolutely.
You're taking their paycheck.
Absolutely.
Right. And
we see that a lot here in Georgia, as you know, SPLOST tax, special purpose taxes for
That's right.
education bonds. I always vote. It's like, oh, increase it a penny. Sure. That sounds great. What's a penny to me? But, a penny over several million people.
as opposed to nerds like me who go to the ballot box and look at it and say, I'm not voting for that penny increase. Are you kidding me?
Who cares about those kids?
Exactly. Let them go to school in their decrepit buildings.
They can go farm and cut crops and stuff.
Drive on highways full of potholes. Who cares?
Yeah, no, yeah. Oh my gosh.
But no, we're going to also have guests, right? Yeah. So every now and then we're probably going to have, some folks come in and join us, some experts.
Absolutely.
I think we've already been talking about that. May have
I thought you were the expert on everything.
it's obvious. Given the expert on everything.
But we have to pretend like there's other experts.
I know, right?
I know.
I may have to hand the title.
Not just
over
the
now
only
and
guy. I know.
I may have a marijuana expert come in.
Yes. Talk about that's a booming industry.
Well, you're an alcohol expert, so you can talk about alcohol taxes. But no, at least have different industry experts, technology, telecommunications, all sorts of stuff to just kind of give us highlights in their industry and some of the things that are changing, right?
Yeah, in all seriousness, we have learned a lot about the liquor and beer industry.
Absolutely.
Over the last years and definitely the last couple of months.
Yep.
Like you say, like we just said, cannabis is an up and coming industry as it's legalized in more states. In our different segments, just what we were talking about with states and locals, we're going to focus on just different groups of states by region.
Yep.
What's particular to those states, what you need to know.
Interesting stuff like in the Southwest and, Northwest and the Northeast.
Yeah.
What's going on hot down here in the South.
Yeah.
So, get into, all the specific issues. Yeah, definitely by region. I think it'd be really, really good.
We'll focus on regions, focus on industries. And then,
some tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks. Absolutely. Our Tic Tacs.
Nice things to know about,
Yep.
Compliance and technology and, other kinds of stuff. Yep. Absolutely.
So, we've got a lot going on. There's a sales tax again. We'll geek out about this for ever if you let us.
Absolutely.
Yes. So it's JB probably won't. So,
That was good.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved it. Then on our, just our tally of people that we have offended, if you want to apologize, Trekkies, attorneys, marathon runners, and parents.
Parents. What did we say about parents?
Hey, Mom. Sorry.
My own parents.
The 1%. We were talking about the 1% sales tax or the 1 penny sales.
Oh yeah, that's him. I'm not a.
Yeah, I don't care about you.
Pothole.
I'm the one. Yeah, he doesn't care. I already knew that.
So if you just want to issue a
so,
blanket apology to all
yes,
those groups.
I care about the kids and the potholes.
Okay, so a blanket apology to Trekkies,
Yes.
parents, and
Lawyers
attorneys.
and marathon runners.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And triathletes.
Yeah, but marathon runners, that's kind of like they subject themselves to their own punishment. Like, why they willfully subject themselves to that. I don't feel like I should apologize.
I know.
3 out of 4.
But yeah, 3 out of 4.
Apologize to 3 out of 4 of them.
Yeah, I know.
All right, now you have to plug it.
Okay, so I'm
Shameless
seeing
plug time.
CTA to follow and subscribe.
Call to action.
action.
Call to action. All right.
Do-
You want to do the shameless plug?
We are going to have fun with each other, with JB, with our guests, with any callers that come in.
Yeah, so just make sure you follow and subscribe.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Yeah.
Follow and just subscribe.
Exactly.
Yes, Taxing Poetic
Taxing Poetic.
with Synexis.
With Tim and Jenny.
With Tim and Jenny.
There you go.
Yes.
Really nice. So now what? Do you want to say goodbye? Do you want me to just cut it?
Just cut it.